Ladies and gentlemen, we take pride in presenting
In color. My favorite Marshall.
My Favorite Vinyl with Don Tanner.
And good morning. This is WEFT Champaign-Urbana, and the show where we meet a special guest and play some of their favorite songs. Very simple format. It's time to wax poetic and introduce Jeff Yockey, the board chair of the Trails of the Grand Prairie. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Glad we could get you in here.
Yeah, it's fun.
I know we've been talking for some time, and really do appreciate it. So let's start. We're gonna play some very interesting music that you've curated in just a moment. We'll start some of those songs, but talk about Trails of the Grand Prairie, an ambitious, amazing project.
The Trails of the Grand Prairie started with the Kickapoo Rail Trail, and that organization's been going almost 35 years. Wow. The steering committee meeting. Different nonprofits, the Champaign County Design and Conservation Foundation, helped get things going. David Monk, who was a longtime contributor here at WEFT, right. Is part of the story and part of the lore of how a railroad corridor that goes from Urbana all the way through Oakwood, almost to Danville, became available, and how a group of people worked really hard to secure it over 20 years, and then another group of people. It's sort of like a relay race. There's a baton, and there's definitely a group of people that started the race and carried it for a long time. They've handed the baton to another group, and I'm pretty much on the third leg.
Are you really?
With our group, yes.
Yeah. So how many miles total is this stretch?
It's going to be 24 and a half miles.
Okay.
The construction is starting this fall to finish all the non-completed sections. So we've got about half of it built now, but we've got essentially most of the funds to finish it.
So it's basically taking old railroad lines and taking those lines out, all of the hardware and tiles, whatever the technical jargon is for all of that.
Yeah, two things happened at the same time. Illinois was sort of on the western frontier of the United States. Abraham Lincoln was a young guy, and railroads were preceded cars. And so it was the way that you traveled long distances and moved grain and carried goods back and forth. So oftentimes there were two lines, a freight line and a passenger line. Just right over here in downtown Champaign, the Illinois Traction Company was the interurban line, the electric trolley that moved people back and forth. Right, and so as you go from Urbana towards Danville, there are 5 towns, and they're every 5 to 7 miles. So you got St. Joe, Ogden, Fithian, Muncie, and Oakwood. And then a long trestle, it's beautiful. It's a half-mile trestle over the Middle Fork River. And you get to the fairgrounds, which, these were always destinations.
Right.
You could actually go to Homer Lake on an interurban, because that was a recreational area and people wanted to get there. And then on into Danville. So that's our project. We started out as the Friends of the Kickapoo Rail Trail, and then I'll tell you about the rest of the story in just a minute.
Okay. Well, that's a good segue into playing some music here. These are going to be covers of very well-known song by artists that may or may not be well-known. We're going to start with Evan House. Tell us about Evan House a little bit.
An American multi-instrumentalist, a really sharp, talented guy. He writes a lot of operas and music. He plays guitar. He's always creative. He's got, since the advent of the internet and all that, he's got a lot of things he's posted. And he went to Ireland, sat on a stool out in a meadow, and played a song by the Irish band U2.
And he does operas as well.
He does. He's an incredible guy.
Let's give this a listen. It's a sort of homecoming, and this is WEFT, My Favorite Vinyl.
I am coming home.
We are Grassroots Radio, And that's Evan House on WEFT. Support for My Favorite Vinyl is provided in part by CU CD and Vinyl in downtown Urbana, new and used CDs and vinyl, including rare imports and limited releases. SEEYOU CD and Vinyl, located behind the Elm City Roastery on Main Street in Urbana. Also, CU CD and Vinyl on all social platforms. Thanks for joining us on this Monday morning. It's 8:10. I am Don Tanner, and sitting across from me in the studios here in downtown Champaign, Jeff Yockey, the board chair of the Trails of the Grand Prairie. And we were talking about the project a little bit and what's happening. Fascinating project. This is going to be walking in, biking, and hop, skip, jump, whatever you'd like to do.
Yeah.
Unicycle?
A lot of dog walkers, a lot of bird watchers.
Yeah.
The running club loves it. The St. Joe cross country coach loves it.
I bet.
He can send his kids, about 2 blocks away and hit the trail and do their workouts out there. It's great. So it's part of the rail trail movement, converting these former railroad corridors into biking and walking trails, and they connect communities. They run through communities, and so it's not far from people where they live. And as we get this whole first 24.5-mile stretch done, we're going to start to become a destination. Right now it's a handy place. It's recreation for those of us around, but other people are looking for trails to ride. And so people will start to come this way.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So it's been in process, you had mentioned, for 25 years.
35 years.
35 years. What, in terms of the ETA, are parts opening at different portions, or how does that work?
Yeah. 2017 is when we opened the section from Urbana to St. Joe, the first 7 miles. Ogden has 1.5 miles through their community, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that gets them across town. It gives you a place to walk, and so they love that. And then there's a 3.5-mile section out by Oakwood that's all completed.
How is this all paid for?
Gifts and donations and foundations and state and federal grants.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We're going to play another song, Rockin' 1000.
Rockin' 1000. I've probably listened to this song, 40 times. And I've watched it. I watched it on YouTube, and I listened to it for the first time without the visuals, and it was very interesting. And I'll tell you the story, but the Rocking 1000 started with a guy who was in Italy, loved the Foo Fighters, and had this. And he was a musician, and had this idea like, what would it take to get the Foo Fighters to come to our small town in Italy? He kind of felt like he was in the backwoods and forgotten. Sure. And he had this idea: what if I got 1,000 musicians together and we played one of their songs and we recorded it?
Not a couple hundred, 1,000.
1,000 drummers, guitarists, bassists, and vocalists. And so he and his friends he had to convince his friends that this was not a crazy idea. But then they started and worked for a whole year. And the video, you can look, if you type in Learn to Fly 1000 is all you need.
Right.
It's just a great celebration and a great story of all these people that got together for a weekend, practiced one song, figured out how to play together, and then recorded it. And then they put it on the internet. And it eventually got to the Foo Fighters, and they were like, their phones were blowing up. People were like, you should see this. And
did they end up going over?
And
overseas?
They did. You can see that concert too. It's great.
Oh, that's fantastic. We're going to give this a listen. Again, it's a Foo Fighters cover from the Rockin' 1000. 90.1 WEFT with Jeff Yockey, the board chair of the Trails of the Grand Prairie. Again, interesting song there. 1,000 people coming together and creating this master work.
And that work has continued. They do concerts a couple times a year, gathering different groups of 1,000 artists playing songs in big stadiums, and they get to feel like rock stars for a day, And they may just be guys that have a drum set in their basement or whatever, but they're playing.
So a great version.
Yeah, so I was going to say a couple things. All the 4 songs I've selected are covers of very famous songs. And what I find myself doing is I'll have a song in my head and I'll pull it up on YouTube and I'll watch that and then I'll wonder, like, what's that like live? And then I'll watch the live version. And then I'll type the word cover in there and I'll watch sometimes 2 or 3 people cover it. And I just get excited about young people just singing, out of their pleasure, out of in their bedrooms.
Yeah,
and these
yeah.
are the covers.
Yeah, sometimes it's like listening to an artist and then hear their acoustic version is interesting, but to hear someone else's take on it, it's
Yeah.
pretty fascinating too.
Yeah, and the next song we're going to listen to is Clocks by Coldplay, and that's been out for quite a while. This is a young Australian female singer playing it with a guitar instead of Chris Martin pounding away on his fun pianos.
Yeah, right.
And the other thing that has in common with all four of these songs I've chosen is the theme home. That someplace in the song, looking, I'm making my way back home.
Right.
Is what the Foo Fighters were singing, and you'll hear it in this song as well.
Yeah, there's a method to your madness of
There is.
curation here.
There's a thread through all this.
And this is Rachel Lang on WEFT. This is WEFT in My Favorite Vinyl. Song from Jeff Yockey, board chair of the Trails of the Grand Prairie. You probably recognize that song from Coldplay, a cover of Clocks by Rachel Lang. 8:25, and the time goes fast. I'd mentioned that.
Yeah, it does go fast.
And we're going to play another song, but again, you're doing some great things with the Trails of the Grand Prairie. You're very involved with CU Bikes that we didn't talk much about.
Yeah, Champaign County Bikes, local bicycle advocacy group.
Yeah.
I'll mention one other last thing with David Monk. He used to have his office was right next door to WEFT.
Right.
They're doing it now. His organization, Heartland Pathways, transferred the corridors that he'd acquired, the rail corridors in Piatt and DeWitt counties, to us. And so that's what prompted us to change our names from the Friends of the Kickapoo Rail Trail to the Trails of the Grand Prairie. And so
Really?
we've got 30 miles that run from Seymour, just west of Champaign, all the way down through Monticello and out to the county line past Cisco, and then also up to Whiteheath, all the way to Clinton.
Wow.
And so what keeps us busy is developing, it was 35 years to get the Kickapoo Rail Trail done. We're hoping to shorten that timeline a little bit, but working hard on that side.
That's great.
Hey, I picked the last song.
Yeah.
Closing Time. I think a lot of people know it. It's, a lot of these songs work on different levels.
Uh-huh.
And, this is what they play when it's time to close the bar. Or,
Right.
But he wrote it for a different reason. And then I think it even works at more levels than that. So this is a group from Indiana, a cappella group, that does this rendition of Closing Time.
And the original song was from a group, Semisonic.
Yeah, Dan Wilson.
Yeah, can't recall the exact year, but maybe 20 years ago, something like that.
Actually, it came out in about 98.
98.
So 27 years ago.
It's amazing. Time flies, as it does here.
It does here. Thank
Jeff
you.
Yockey, again, thanks so much for coming in. We've been talking for some time, and good to get you in. Thanks for all the work you're doing to keep people connected and healthy and all of those things. We're going to go out with Straight, No Chaser.
Closing time. Open all the doors and let in.
And you're listening to Community Radio for East Central Illinois, WEFT. We appreciate you listening this morning, and we appreciated very much Jeff Yockey, board chair of the Trails of the Grand Prairie, very involved with the Champaign-Urbana Bikes as well, for the great work that they are doing, again, to keep people connected and healthy with the trails that they are working on. 8:31, and my name is Don Tanner. On this Monday, we're going to get to the WEFT Vinyl Vault in just a moment. But we appreciate you listening, as I mentioned, and perhaps you're listening at 90.1 FM, and maybe you're streaming at WEFT.org. That, of course, works. If you haven't already, you may want to think about downloading the app. No, you don't want to think about it. You want to do it. And you can listen to your favorite show anytime, like this. Don't want to listen this time of the morning? You could listen later in the day, and complete show archives for each WEFT show, going back for 2 weeks. And you can find us on YouTube at My Favorite Vinyl with Don Tanner. So you'll see Jeff and myself in person in the studio in a couple of days when we post that video. WEFT weather, sunny and cooler today with a high of around 60. And then tonight, clear skies and an overnight low of around 50. And then Tuesday, we're looking at about a 70% chance of rain with a high of 58. Looking ahead, we're looking at high temperatures in the low 50s through Saturday with lows around 40. It's 48 degrees right now in town. And it's time to head downstairs and check out the WEFT vinyl wall, see what's inside the WEFT vinyl vault. And on this date in 1973, the Rolling Stones hit number one with the song Angie from the album Goat's Head Soup. 1980 today, U2 released their debut album Boy, which spawned the single I Will Follow. And in 2001, the Concert for New York City was held to benefit the victims of 9/11. The event featured performances from Billy Joel, Destiny's Child, James Taylor, and many, many others, including David Bowie. We're going to play a song from David Bowie that would appear a year later in 2002 on the album Heathen. It's been remastered for a new 2025 box set, and this is New Killer Star. Go back to 1999 there with Fiona Apple. Song's called I Know from the album When the Pawn. Also, David Bowie in the vinyl vault. It's about 18 minutes in front of 9 o'clock on this Monday. Hope you're enjoying the weather. Maybe a little cooler, but it is definitely, at times, sweatshirt weather. And some of us like that, like this guy right here. But at any rate, to each his and her own. And support for My Favorite Vinyl is provided in part by CU CD and Vinyl in downtown Urbana on WEFT. New and used CDs and vinyl, including rare imports and limited releases. SCEYOU CD and Vinyl, located behind the Elm City Roastery on Main Street in Urbana, and CU CD and Vinyl on all social platforms. Need to inform you that the Independent Media Center is turning 25. Congratulations to them. From October 24th through the 26th, the IMC will host live music, art panels, and community connection. Live music on Saturday evening, this coming Saturday, will include Mother Nature, the Mariachi Tigres, They're Up Y, and DJ BJ spinning tunes in between. There will also be family-friendly workshops and activities, and also opportunities to explore the IMC's past, present, and future. If you'd like some more information on the happenings this week, visit ucimc.org. Again, that's ucimc.org. Well, coming up in the next few minutes, we're going to play some Marvin Gaye, also some brand new Dirt Wire. And right now, we play some movie music, and this is from the movie that stars Taron Egerton and 11-year-old actress Anna Sophia Hedger. They have great chemistry on screen, and a movie I highly recommend. It's called She Rides Shotgun, and this is WEFT. And there's a little infusion of Motown on this Monday morning. Marvin Gaye, of course, and Time to Get It Together. That goes back to 1978. And one of his final albums, Here My Dear. English artist Blank Mass before that. And She Rides Shotgun. 8 in front of 9 o'clock, and a GoFundMe has launched to help open Amy's Place, a queer-owned, community-led dance bar in downtown Champaign. The venue will provide one of the city's few LGBTQ+-owned nightlife spaces, and funds raised will help with construction, labor costs, audio and lighting equipment, and bar essentials to bring the project to life. For more information, GoFundMe.com and search Help Build Amy's Place. I'm going to play you some Swamp-Tronica here in a second with a brand new song from Dirt Wire and a collaboration with Dirt Wire and the Floozies, also going back to 77, and a cool song from Santana we'll get to in just a second. The views and opinions expressed on air are solely those of the speaker and do not necessarily represent those of WEFT Champaign, Prairie Air Incorporated, station management, the board of directors, or the WEFT Associates. Appreciate you listening, as always. Be sure you stay tuned for Monday Morning Jazz. That's happening at 9, and I'll be back with you next Monday morning on WEFT at 8 a.m. All right? Here is Dirt Wire. In the meantime, enjoy.